Hi guys, and welcome back to the final installment in our Microsoft Word tutorial. Today we are wrapping up by going over inserting photos, tables, and page numbers, and then we're going to go over some editing tools that are available in Word, including cutting, copying, and pasting text, finding and replacing text, using the thesaurus, and checking spelling and grammar. So I am going to be switching over in a second to a resume document to demonstrate, so let's get started. So today we are going to be going over inserting tables and pictures, adding page numbers to your documents, cutting, copying, and pasting text, finding and replacing text, using the thesaurus and synonyms, and then checking spelling and grammar within Microsoft Word. Okay, so first I am going to demonstrate inserting tables and pictures into your Microsoft Word document. So first what we're going to want to do is come up to the ribbon and then we're going to go to the Insert tab. The Insert tab is what allows us to insert a number of different things into our document, but the most frequently used ones I think are going to be the table, the pictures, and then page numbers. So to create a table, all we're going to do is come right over here to where it says Tables, and then we're going to click on this little downward facing arrow. Once we do that, we see this grid. And so there are actually two ways to insert tables, and I'll demonstrate both. But first of all, we have this grid. So if we come over here, we can go ahead, and now we see we have a 1-by-1 table. If we were to go over, we have 2-by-1. So you can just go back and left or right and up and down until you get the size table that you need. And then once you have decided on the size that will work for you, you'll just click your cursor on that box. So the other way to insert a table into your document, we're just going to come back up to the table button. We're going to click on the little arrow, and then we're going to come down to where it says Insert Table. So this way we can just type in the numbers we want. So let's say we want we want 5 columns and we want 3 rows in our table. We would just type those in and then we would click OK. And then you're all done. And then if you make your table and then you immediately see that it won't work for you, you can just go ahead and come up here to the Undo button. And then you'll just click on that and your table is gone. Another way to get rid of a table you no longer want in your document is to highlight it with your mouse and then come up to the clipboard and then to the scissor icon and click Cut. And then you're all done. So if we wanted to insert pictures into our document, we would just come back up to the Insert tab. And then we would come right here to Pictures. So then I'm going to click on that, and that is the way that you can insert pictures from your computer into your document. So now I'm looking at the pictures on my computer. I'm going to select one, and then I'm going to click Insert. So now my photo is in my document. If I wanted to get rid of it, I could either backspace, or I could click on the photo, and then I could come back up to the clipboard and click Cut. And finally, now I'm going to demonstrate how to insert page numbers. So once again, we're going to come up to the Insert tab, and then we're going to come over here to where it says Page Number. So I'm just going to click on this little drop-down arrow, and now we see we have a few options for where we can put our page number. So we have top of the page, we have bottom, we could put it in the page margins, and so on and so forth. I'm just going to select top of page, and then I'm going to come over here to this bottom one, and then I'll just click on that. So now our page number is inserted and it's highlighted. So if we wanted to start typing, we could do so there. Once we are okay with our page number, we will just click elsewhere in the document, and now we have a page number in our document. If we decide we no longer need it or we don't want it there, just double click on that number up in the header and then click backspace. Click off the page and you are all done. Now I'm going to demonstrate cutting, copying, and pasting text in Microsoft Word. So first of all, I'm going to point out where these buttons are. So the cut button is right here, and this is the button used to move an item to the clipboard for insertion into another location or document. Below that, we have the copy button, and this is what allows us to place a copy of an item on the clipboard for insertion into another location or document. And finally, we have the paste button, which is what allows us to insert an item from the clipboard into a document. So there are a number of ways to cut and paste and copy using Microsoft Word, but I am just going to be focusing on using the clipboard for this demonstration. So first what I'm going to do is click on this dialog box launcher in the corner, and now we can see our clipboard. So let's say I want to move this top part from the top to the bottom. So I will just highlight that text, and then I'm going to click Cut. So now that text no longer appears in my document, but it does appear in my clipboard. So now let's say I want to move it below skills. So I'm just going to move my mouse to where I want to insert this text, and then I'll come over here and click Paste All. So now we have moved this section of text from the top to this middle section. So now let's say I wanted to copy some text. So let's say I want this to appear twice. So I'm going to highlight it, and then I'm going to click Copy. So then below that, I'm going to move my cursor, and then I'm going to click on this to paste it again. So that is a pretty useful function if you are using a template and you need to add more sections, but you want it to be the same format or similar text or whatever it may be. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate how to use the Find tool here in Word. So first we are going to start in the Home tab, and we're going to move over to the Editing group here at the far right. So if we just wanted to find a word in our document, we could just come up here to Find and then click on this little drop-down arrow and then click Find again. So here we can type in whatever word we are looking for. So let's say I'm looking for the word skills. And now it's going to highlight every time that word appears in our document. If we were all done, we could just click the little X here, and that would go away. So then if we wanted to use the Replace function, we're still in the Home tab, still in the Editing group. We would just come right here to where it says Replace. We would click on that, and so the word skills is still highlighted there. So we would just come down to this bottom bar where it says Replace With, and let's say I wanted to replace the word skills with the word expertise. I would just type that in, and then I would click Replace. Oops. And so now it says we are finished searching the document. I click OK. I'm going to close out of here. Well, actually, if your word appeared multiple times in your document, the word skills only appears once in here. You could click Find Next, and then that would take you to the next instance of the word. If you wanted to replace it, if you just wanted to see where it was at in your document, that's how you would do that. When you're all done, you would just click Close. And now we see the word skills here in my resume document has been replaced with the word expertise. So if I wanted to go back and undo that, I could either click up here where we have the undo function, or I could have come back up here to replace, and I just could have switched these words. Now we are going to move on to using the Thesaurus and synonyms in Microsoft Word. So the Thesaurus feature allows us to access a list of synonyms for words, much like an actual book or thesaurus. So the synonyms option allows us to quickly replace a word with a common synonym. So the thesaurus is going to be located over here in the Review tab. So we're going to click on that. And then we're going to come to the Proofing group right here in the far left. To use the thesaurus, all you're going to do is highlight the word you are possibly wanting to change. So I'm going to highlight the word skills, and I do that just by using my mouse and double clicking on the word skills. And we're still in the Review tab, so I'm just going to come up here to the Thesaurus button, and I'm going to click on that. And so now we have our little thesaurus panel over here to the right, and we could just go through here. We have a bunch of different words that we could possibly replace the word skills with. So that is pretty useful. The thesaurus is useful for when you maybe aren't sure about the use of a particular word and you want to see a list of synonyms that you could possibly replace it with. And then when we're all done using the thesaurus, we would just come up here to this little X, click on that, and that makes the thesaurus panel go away. If we wanted to just quickly select a common synonym for a word and insert it in place of an existing word, we would use the synonym function instead. So what we're going to do is highlight the word that we want to replace. So I'm going to highlight the word skills again. And then we're going to use our mouse to right click on that word. And then that presents us with this pop-up menu. So then we would scroll down to where it says synonyms. And we see this little arrow, which means that we're going to get another pop-up menu. So then here we have all of these words. These are the most common synonyms for the word skills. So let's say I wanted to replace skills with abilities. I would come down here to where abilities appears in our list, and I would just click on that. And now I have changed the word skills to the word abilities. Okay, so finally we are going to move on to checking spelling and grammar in Microsoft Word. So since Microsoft Word is a text-based product, it does include built-in features for checking spelling and grammar. So you will be able to find the spelling and grammar check in the Review tab over in the Proofing group at the top here. So the same place where we go to find the thesaurus. So while you are working in a document, Word will display spelling and grammar errors as you type. So the different colors you might see, a red underline would indicate a spelling error. So as you are typing that word, Microsoft Word will tell you that word is spelled wrong by putting a red underline. If you see a green underline, that means there is an error with grammar. So if I come over here to this word with the red underline, and then I use my mouse to right click, a little pop-up window will show right next to it. So here we have words suggestion for us. So I'm just going to click on that, and then it changes my word to the correct spelling, and that red line goes away. Okay, so now I have put a few misspellings in my document here. So if we wanted to check the whole document, we would just bring our cursor up to the top of our document, and then we'll come over here to the spelling and grammar button, and we're going to click on that. So now it's going to go through our entire document. Everything that's underlined will show up in the panel here on the right, and it will tell us the correct spelling. If it's a grammatical error, it will give us a suggestion for fixing that, so on and so forth. So here we see the correct spelling, and I'm just going to click change. And again, we have the correct spelling. I'll click change again. And then here we have a few different options, but what I need is the word employment. So I will just click change. And then here Microsoft is telling us that our spelling and grammar check is complete. So I will just click OK, and we are all done. As we wrap up, I'm going to point out one more thing with the spelling and grammar check, but I'm not going to demonstrate it. I'm just going to misspell this word here, and then I'm going to come back up to the spelling and grammar. So I just demonstrated how to look at the different options, different suggestions it gives you, and then change it. But we do have a couple other options here. So first we have the ignore button at the top. And so you can use that for instances where a single word is spelled correctly, but it's not in the dictionary. So sometimes this is also like last names. You may have spelled your last name correctly, or a name, or whatever it may be, but it's not in the dictionary, so it shows as an incorrect spelling. You could just click ignore there. Next, we have the ignore all button. So you can use this in instances where a word appears multiple times throughout a document and it's spelled correctly, but again, it's just not in the dictionary. So next we have the word add. So you can use that to add custom words to the dictionary, such as names or company-specific jargon or acronyms. Below that, we have change all. So you can use that to change all instances of a word that appear in a document instead of going through one at a time. All right, guys, so that concludes our Microsoft Word tutorial series. I hope you found these helpful, and as always, please feel free to send me an email if you have any other questions, or come see me in the library for more one-on-one tech help. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.